Hello everyone, welcome to Coder and Boots. So today we are going to discuss about Kafka producer and consumer. So this is the fourth video in the Kafka series. So we have already discussed about the fundamentals of Kafka, then the installation of Kafka for basic development activities, then relationship between Kafka and Zookeeper in the previous videos. So now we are going to discuss about how to basically produce and consume messages, or basically how to start operating Kafka. Okay, so this is going to be like more of a hands-on video. So there is not going to be much of like PPTs and all. So it is just we are going to get into the program directly. Okay, so the agenda is we are going to first create a topic, then produce some messages, consume some messages using command line. This I have already explained, but I'll explain it again in this video. Then after that we will start trying the same thing using a Python program. Okay, so producer and consumer. Okay, so now let's get out of this PPT. Now let's get into the experiments. Okay, so I have already installed Kafka in a machine. So Kafka is already running here. This is like a development environment kind of Kafka only, so it's not a production cluster, but the same whatever I am explaining here, the same works well for production as well. Okay, so why I am showing it in development environment kind of scenario is because everyone will be able to practice this at home. So you don't have to be dependent on something from outside. So you can install this in your laptop as well. So I'm going to use the Kafka CLI. So so I'm not explaining anything about the installation part here. So I'm directly getting into the Kafka CLI. Okay, so if you see here in the Kafka CLI, there is something called, if you get inside the bin, you will see something called Kafka console producer.sh. Okay, and there is something called Kafka console consumer.sh. Okay, so we'll be using these two, and one more thing we will use is basically the topics, Kafka topics.sh. First we'll create a topic here, and then we'll produce a message, then we'll consume some message. That's the idea. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this Kafka topics.sh. topics.sh. Okay, let's just hit enter. This is just to see what are the various options available. So maybe just Kafka topics.sh hyphen help. Okay, so let's wait for the response to come. Okay, so this gives the various options available in the Kafka topics.sh. So alter bootstrap server. So this is an important thing. So we need to pass the details of a broker to connect to. Okay, so then we are going to create a topic. Okay, we need to use create, then we need to pass the topic name, right? So there will be something called topic, and then topic needs what? Partitions, then partitions also replication factor. So let's frame the command. Okay, so Kafka topics.sh, then first thing we will pass the bootstrap server hyphen bootstrap server. So I'm going to use the local Kafka brokers details. So it is going to be for me 192.168.1.148 colon 9092. Okay, so that's my broker. So but if there are multiple brokers, you can, if you see here the bootstrap server itself, you see the option, you can use a connection string kind of thing. So you can pass like multiple server details in the bootstrap server info. Then next is topic. First hyphen create, we'll use create. Okay, then topic, we'll have to pass the topic name. So coder test 01. Okay, now I'm going to use partitions. Okay, so I'm going to use partitions 1, and then replication factor 1. Let's see what happens with this. Okay, now you see created topic coder test 01. That means we have the topic created. Now what we can do is we can just use the same command for listing the topic. Okay, so just like I mean the create, there is something called list. So let's see. So I am going to look for a topic coder test01. If you see this, there are so many topics available. So in this we can see the newly created coder test01 as well. Okay, so we have our topic over here. So similarly, like I mean just like the way we created, there are options to delete as well. You see describe, delete. Okay, so all those commands are there, so we can use this to operate on the topics. Okay, so now let's use the, so first is like we need to produce something, right? So we will use Kafka console producer.sh. Let's see the options. So I'm using --help. Okay, so it provided the list of options available. There are so many things available. So one is bootstrap server. This is an important thing. Okay, this is required. Okay, if you see the configuration, there are some with required and some without required. Okay, required means that is mandatory. Okay, so for the producer, the console producer to work, the bootstrap server is kind of important. Previously there was something called broker list. Now this broker list is deprecated, and now we use something called bootstrap server. Okay, so and then next is we need the producer name. So let's see producer. So then we will pass the bootstrap server. Okay, so this is the broker details to connect to. So I am going to give my broker IP 140:9092. By default Kafka broker runs in 9092 port, but this is a customizable thing, so you can customize this to any other port. Okay, so our topic is coder test01. So we have passed all the required or mandatory fields. Now the producer is up. Okay, now what we can do is we will duplicate a session. Okay, so because I just wanted to show the production and consumption simultaneously, that's why now I am opening another shell. Okay, now we will use Kafka console consumer. Okay, hyphen. So here also it is going to be similar argument, bootstrap server. So what I'll do is I'll copy the same things like this. Okay, so it's basically Kafka console consumer.sh, bootstrap server, then the IP address, port number, topic, coder test01. Okay, so I have executed this one. Okay, so now this is waiting for some message to available in this topic. Okay, so right now if you see there are no messages, so I am basically passing hello here. You see hello reached here. Okay, world here, this is in the producer, world here. Okay, so then okay, I just put like so many things. Okay, okay, now you see coder and boots. So basically whatever I am passing, it's reaching here. So this is a simple way. So this is something that we use for even testing a Kafka cluster, because after the installation of Kafka cluster, the first thing that we can do is we need to create a topic, we can configure some properties, we need to produce message, consume message. So maybe the infrastructure administrators who do the installation, those people may not have a program handy to test the overall working of the Kafka cluster. So this is the best experiment for those people to test it. So using command line without any program itself. So this is available in all the Kafka installations. Using the shells, you can create topics, delete topics, produce messages, consume messages. So I hope this helps. Okay, so and all the other options in the consumer itself, the consumer group. Okay, so even right now if you see, it is basically reading from reading the latest message. Okay, so we can set read from beginning, okay, or read latest offset. So all those options are available. I'm not going to get into the details of the command line, because this command line is mostly for testing purpose. But what we'll do is we will do the same things from the program. Okay, so let's get into the program, and I'll explain some of the detailed things while explaining the program. Okay, so I have this is my PyCharm, so my IDE development environment, and here I have created a project Kafka experiments. Okay, so in this I have two programs. One is Kafka consumer, second is Kafka producer, and I have a requirements.txt. I've used Kafka Python ng package. Okay, so Kafka Python is like, I mean, there are multiple libraries available for interacting with Kafka. So one is Kafka Python is there, then PyKafka is there. Then this is like, I mean, the recent development in Kafka Python is happening in Kafka Python ng. Okay, so that's why like whoever using Kafka Python, use Kafka Python ng to get the latest updates. Okay, so now let's get into the program. So this is I mean Kafka. I mean, I just created something called simple producer. So if you see here, so I have commented some lines because so I have, first of all, this program I have taken from the official the Python package, basically whatever the Kafka Python, right? So from that package, it's I mean website. So for example, Kafka Python. Okay, so if you just scroll down, you will see this. Okay, so this Kafka Python website. So in the documentation, you will see the usage overview. So you can see a Kafka consumer and a Kafka producer program. So this has like several things combined. So what I have taken is I have taken some of the required components from here. So if you just directly copy paste and run it, it won't run properly because there are so many things with comments they have mentioned. Okay, so it has, I mean, different way of running the producer and different way of running consumer. So I'll explain the program in detail. So that's why like, I mean, I have taken some part of the program and then uncommented the required items. Okay, so let's start. Okay, I've used the required imports. So one is from Kafka, import Kafka producer. Okay, so the same package is used here as well. So here instead of Kafka producer, we are using Kafka consumer. Okay, so now if you see the first like number 5, producer equal to, see, it's a simple Kafka producer. Okay, bootstrap server. So in that bootstrap servers, you see the argument is, or the variable is like the value is a list. Okay, it's a list. In my case, I am passing only one, but let's say in your case it's a you have like a 4 node or 3 node Kafka cluster. So you can pass like, I mean, the list of brokers that you want to connect to, like this. Okay, you can pass like, I mean, the maybe 149. Okay, so 147, like this. I mean, the list of brokers you can connect to, you can pass it in this way, so that even if one broker is down, so your connection will still succeed. Okay, so in my case I have only one broker with me, that's why I'm keeping one. Okay, next is producer dot send. Okay, so this is like, I mean, the function we are calling a send function. First we are creating the producer object, and in the producer object we are calling a send function and passing the topic name test01. Okay, and then we are simply passing the value to be sent. So in this case we are not specifying any key. Key means the partition key or anything. We are simply passing a raw message. But usually in production scenarios, people configure a key as well. Key as well means basically it has to go to specific partition, and because if you're not specifying key, it won't, I mean, like it will just go round robin, and then there won't be, if you want to retain something based on like a specific key, basically if you want to retain the order of the messages based on a partition key or something, that won't happen. Okay, the messages will simply go round robin into the, so let's say I have 4 partitions and I'm not specifying any key. What will happen? The messages will go round robin to these 4 partitions. Okay, so we'll not be able to figure out an order in which the message comes, because in the partitions, I mean, the messages won't be ordered based on a key or anything. Okay, so what we'll do is here, I mean, let's see the how the basic thing works. Okay, future producer dot send topic name and the message. Okay, and if you see here, what I'm doing, I'm basically fetching the metadata from the sent message. Okay, so I'm just waiting like, I mean, for a timeout of 10 seconds. That means, I mean, if this guy doesn't get response within 10 seconds, what will happen? It will consider this is like, I mean, it will throw exception. Okay, so it will wait for max of 10 seconds for the acknowledgement. Then it will print record metadata dot topic. So it is going to print the topic name, record metadata dot partition. So what partition this message was sent to, and record metadata dot offset. So offset means basically like I mean first message goes to 0, the second message 1, like that. I mean the messages will go in like order, right? So it will tell I mean what's the record number of like I mean the and the record. Okay, so that is what I mean the offset is. Okay, so it's a so this is the main line. So future is like I mean producer dot send topic name and hello world. And one more thing, if you install Kafka, like in the simple installation, by default what happens is auto create topic. There is something called auto create topic. Okay, so that is enabled by default. Okay, so let me show you whether you'll see whether I can show it in the program. If you see the Kafka server.properties, so okay, so let's see whether we can see the there is a configuration here, otherwise I mean we can disable that behavior as well. So it's I'm not able to find that top and configuration, the default configuration, but there is a default configuration. Okay, so that is enabled by default. Okay, so topic creation enabled by default. Okay, so what will happen is by default when you are creating a topic, so if that is not disabled, whatever topic you specify it will get auto created. That configuration we can auto create Kafka topic Kafka. Okay, so if you see okay, so auto create topic enable false. Okay, yeah, see this auto create dot topic enable. Okay, so this is kind of the property. So if you set it to basically false, what will happen, then the topics won't get automatically created. So then you will have to create it explicitly first, then only you will be able to I mean use the topic. Okay, otherwise what will happen, so whatever topic you specify it will get automatically so created. Any producer or any client program that interacts can simply like pass any name that gets automatically created. Okay, so that's the behavior. So in our case also the auto create is enabled, so because of that whatever topic we specify here it will get created by default. Okay, but in production grade cluster it is not the scenario. So now let's run this. Okay, so I am going to start with a topic, a fresh topic. Okay, I am going to create coder example 01. Okay, so coder example 01, and I'm going to pass this hello world message, and I'm going to run this program. Okay, so if you see the topic, so message was sent, the program completed at the execution, partition 0, offset 0. Okay, so partition number like I mean it starts from 0. If the partition number 1, basically the first partition will be 0, second partition will be 1, in that way. Similarly offset also starts from the number 0, so first offset I mean the first one will be 0, second one will be 1, third one will be 2, like that it goes. Okay, so now let's do the same thing in the consumer as well. So we will have to use the same topic as what we have used in the producer. So here we will specify the topic name, consumer object we created. Then what we are doing is we are iterating over the messages in the consumer, that we are printing the message dot topic, the topic of the message partition. So basically the main thing is the message dot value. This contains the message, the actual value of the message that we passed. Then these many things are all metadata. Okay, but just to understand the details of the message we are printing all these. Okay, so we have coder example 01 as a topic, right? So and this is the consumer group. Okay, so consumer group, whatever group you specify here, then the offsets, the read offsets will get updated here based on this group. Okay, so now let's start or run the consumer. Okay, so now if you see, I started the consumer, but I am not seeing any message here. Okay, if you see, there is no message here, but I have already sent some message from my producer. If you see, this was already sent, right? But it is not showing up here. Okay, so what's the reason? So the reason is, so it's a because of like I'm in the behavior of this consumer. Okay, so by default, what will happen? The consumer will try to read the latest message. Okay, latest message means, so whatever is going to come next, right? So if I run this again, if I run the producer again, what will happen? You will see a message here. You see coder example 01, key equal to none, value equal to hello world. Okay, so whatever I am sending after starting the consumer started coming here. The reason is because of like I'm in the offset in which it is trying to read. It will read only the latest message after the after once the consumer starts. But you can change this behavior. How you can change the behavior? So you can basically set this auto offset, right? Let's stop this consumer. Okay, let's stop this consumer. Then we can configure the auto offset to earliest. Okay, and also this earliest also, what we'll do, we will change the consumer group. The reason is because this is kind of a property which is getting set at the consumer group level. So once it is started, what will happen? The offset property is already set. Okay, from where to read from, so it is already set. So if I am specifying like a new group, what will happen? So this now, like if I just run this, okay, it will show all the messages that were sent to coder example 01 from the beginning. So I think I have sent already like 3 or 4 messages. So as there was no like consumer group like my group 3, so it will try to read from the beginning of like the topic. So let's try to run this consumer again. Okay, now you will see 2 messages, right? Because I have executed twice in the past. So previously when I executed the consumer, it didn't show give any message because it was waiting for a new message to arrive. So now here I explicitly set start from the earliest offset. Earliest offset means basically if you see here, this offset was 0 and this is the first message. Okay, so this is a topic, this is like the partition, this is the offset, right? So offset 0, offset 1. Okay, now if I am sending something, it will be offset. Okay, so in the consumer log, if you see offset 2, new message came. So don't worry about this format because this is something that we framed in the consumer. Okay, if you see, this is something that we framed in the message.topic, message.partition, message.offset, message.key, message.value. We framed it in this way. That's why it is coming in the in this structure. Okay, so I hope this is clear. And you see something called key equal to none. This is basically the partition key that we are sending, okay, as part of the message. If you see in our example, in the current one, we are not setting any key. Okay, we are not setting any key, we are only setting the value. Okay, so that means there is no key. Okay, that's the reason when the consumer is reading, it is showing as none. Okay, but what we can do, we can, so instead of this message, so what I'll do is, instead of this message, I'll do the same thing over here. Okay, I'll just modify it in this way, basically the same message. Okay, I am going to pass maybe like with a key and a value as the same value. Okay, value as key. Okay, hello world with key. So now let's run this producer. Okay, now you see topic, this one, partition 0, offset 3, and you see here coder example key equal to foo. I passed something, right? I can send like maybe car. Okay, so I can send something else. So key equal to something, value equal to hello world with the key. Okay, now I have added a new key and I am sending something again. Okay, now the offset is 4. You see here offset 4 came, and key car I updated like the key, right? Key car value. This is like the actual message. This is like the key. Where is this key going to be used? This key is going to be used in the partitioner. Okay, so in the partitioner, the key is going to get used and it will be partitioned, and also like the messages will get sorted based on the sorted in the order with that we are sending based on this key. Okay, so in use cases where you want to like get the messages arranged or ordered based on a specific key, let's say maybe like based on a location or something, you can adjust the properties in this way. So I'll show one more thing. So here if you see the how like the production and the consumption happens is in a producer record, if you see the topic and value, these are mandatory things. Okay, if you in our program also, when we send it first time, we send the topic and value. Partition and key, these are optional things. Okay, if it doesn't specify the partition, if it doesn't specify the key, like basically you don't have to do like set the partition, you just need to specify the key only. It will take care of like internally partitioning it. But topic and value is the mandatory item. Okay, and when we call the send function, okay, what will happen is it will go through like a serializer and a partitioner. Okay, serializer and partitioner. Serializer I'll explain later, but partitioner, so based on the key it gets sent to like the specific partitions. Okay, so depending upon like let's say a topic itself, you while creating the topic, if you have specified 5 partitions or 4 partitions, okay, so if you are not specifying the key, what will happen, the messages will be sent round robin to the partitions. Round robin means one after the other to the available partition. Okay, and this partition will be like distributed across blockers. So that means topics can be scaled. Okay, so by partitioning it, and then if you are specifying a key, what will happen, the client will ensure the messages of the same key will go to the same partition. Okay, so that's why like the role of partitioner is. Then what will happen, it will get traversed, or like it will be entered in the broker, and broker, then what will happen, so that is where the successful production. So the if you see in the program itself, we have something called future.get timeout, right? So the actual push happens after doing all these, then the acknowledgement happens. Okay, that is why like where this gets the response. So before this future.get, right, internally it is doing all these activities, then it responds the metadata. So then that's why we are getting the topic detail, partition detail, and offset details of the message that we sent. That is how what the metadata gets responded back, or returned back to the producer client. Okay, so this is how like the producer works. Similarly, a consumer also has a similar flow. It's in the opposite direction. Okay, so now let's see like with a different scenario. Okay, so now we have seen message with a key, message without key. Okay, now let's see how we can send a message with basically a different structure. Okay, with a serializer. So serializer is basically, there is something called serday. Okay, serializer and deserializer. So serdays are used for handling like different type of data formats, okay, in systems. So it's not just for Kafka alone. This topic is kind of there for other systems as well. So if you see like some databases or query systems like Hive, the Apache Hive, there is something called serdays. So here in Kafka also we have serdays. Okay, so we can create custom serdays as well depending upon our need. So I'm going to, right now I have sent like basic plain single line message, but in most of the scenarios we'll have to send some JSON data or something. Okay, or even like maybe some other formats as well. So in that scenario we use serdays. So otherwise what will happen, we will simply get, so right now I have sent some plain text, so on the other side as well I am getting like the plain text. Okay, so whatever you are seeing here also I'll get it in the plain text. So but the advantage is like, let's say if I am sending a JSON, okay, and if I am using like a serializer, JSON serializer, what will happen, on the reception side I'll get the data as a JSON object itself. So that means it will have all the properties of JSON. So what is the property of a JSON? We can traverse over the JSON object, okay, using the key value kind of way, right? So using JSON path we can access the JSON, we can traverse over the JSON data. So it will show all I'll show you how it shows the behavior of JSON. Okay, so let me comment this line as well. Okay, so we have already tested this. Now let's see how we can send this JSON data. So if you see here, I have value equal to something, okay, and Now for sending this, first I'll send it without using like a JSON serializer or deserializer. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, so this is right now, if you see, this is a JSON as the going as the value, and I am going to send it to JSON topic. Okay, JSON topic 00. Okay, so let's, in the consumer, what we need to stop this consumer. Okay, so we need to stop this consumer and we need to listen to JSON topic 00, right? 00. Okay, so let's start, and it's going to send key, car and value, something like this. So let's start this consumer first. Okay, consumer started. Okay, so there were already messages, that's why, like, I mean, it started showing the message. And you see why it started showing the message, because I have set the offset reset to earliest. Okay, if it was not there, then what will happen, it will wait for new message to arrive. Okay, so clear this, then let's start sending the message. You see, I sent something, it's giving an error. Okay, producer send. Okay, it's giving an error because I am sending a JSON object. Okay, and it is expecting a string. Okay, so that means in this scenario I can only I'll end up in sending this as a string, right? That means, I mean, on the consumption side also it will come as a string. That means JSON dot dump as, okay, of this one. See, this is, if I send in this way, it should work, because it is, oh, wait, topic 00 send assertion memory view. Okay, now you see I have sent it in JSON.dumpers. That means, I mean, it is basically converted to string. Okay, so this message was converted to string and I send it, and let's see what is getting consumed. Okay, now on the consumption side, if you see, it basically arrived as a string. You see there is a double quote over here, right? So that means, I mean, I will not be able to traverse. Okay, I will not be able to so let's say I wanted only the model, I wanted to extract the model directly while doing the consumption. Okay, so I will not be able to do like this. If I use model or make, okay, so instead of the entire key, I just want, like, I mean, the make of this particular one. Okay, so let's say I'm clearing this, I'm just running this, and now I'm sending this again. Okay, it's sent, and on the consumer side, you see, it's going to throw exception because it is basically a string. Okay, it is a string, and we will not be able to use the JSON behavior, JSON properties over here. Okay, but there is a option. Okay, so while consumption, at the consumption side, I can basically select a deserializer. Okay, so I can set the serialization configuration. So that serialization configuration is, I'll have to set this. Okay, so it's basically the deserializer. So at the producer side we serialize it, and at the consumer side we deserialize it. So in the Kafka consumer class, okay, here before we create the consumer object, here we'll have to pass the deserializer details. So value deserializer equal to, okay, so we have passed basically whatever message load s. Load s means what, whatever, like, I mean, the so the JSON.loadS will convert a string, okay, to JSON object. Okay, similarly JSON.dumpS will do what, it will take a string and convert it into no, it will take a JSON object and convert it into string. So dumpS will basically emit or provide the output of dumpS is going to be the string, and output of, like, loadS is going to be like a string getting converted to JSON object. Okay, so what we'll do is, instead of, like, I mean, doing the circus over here, we'll just pass the message as this, basically the JSON message as this, and then we'll set the serializer here. So we are going to use like a JSON serializer. Okay, so let's use the serializer directly in the producer config itself, Kafka producer, and here I am going to set value serializer. So what we are doing, dump s means whatever I am passing here, this gets dumped as string. Okay, so through the topic channel it goes as string, and on the other side before consumption, what it will happen, the deserialization will happen, and it gets consumed as a JSON object again. So we are sending JSON, getting JSON. So in the channel it goes a string in between. That's how it works. Okay, so let's try running it again. So I have made this configuration change. Now let's run the consumer first. Okay, consumer, something is wrong. So what is there? Okay, so let's first, let's remove this make part. I'll just print this value deserializer equal to this one. Okay, let's run again. Okay, so now the consumer is running. Now let's produce the message. Okay, so now let's produce the message again and again. So now let's see what's happening in the consumer. So consumer, if you see the value, previously when we received the value, there was a quotes outside the value. That means it was like what? It was a string. Okay, now you see in the value you don't see any quotes outside. Okay, quotes outside means double, I'm talking about the quotation mark. Okay, so why? Because it's coming as a object, JSON object. Okay, so now let's do the previous experiment. Okay, so value, I wanted to get the value of make. Ideally I am expecting just Toyota, so make is Toyota, right? I am expecting Toyota. So let's stop this, let's rerun. Okay, let's file descriptor, wait, let's wait for a minute. Okay, now let's produce the message again. Okay, it sent a message, and on the other side consumer you see value equal to Toyota. Okay, so that means here the value is coming as a JSON object. Okay, so now maybe like the message type of message dot value, I can even print the message dot value type. Okay, so let's print the message value type. No, sorry, the format we have not specified that, right? So let's add the okay, so now okay, now let's send the message. Okay, send the message. Now let's see what's the produce. So you see it's JSON topic car value Toyota, type is class of dictionary. Like in Python it is basically what? JSON, type is like it is a dictionary, dict, it's a dict. Okay, so that means it is coming in the proper way, so we can iterate or navigate across this JSON structure and fetch the right value. So this is like the example for serializer and deserializer. Okay, so now the last thing so I am going to explain is basically subscribe from a set of topics. Okay, so right now till now whatever we have seen is reading from a specific topic, let's say JSON topic. Okay, so or maybe like test topic, whatever topic you are specifying, it reads from there. But in production scenario sometimes we will have to read from like a set of topics. Okay, set of topics. The reason why I'm saying is basically sometimes people create topics based on various hierarchies. Okay, hierarchies means let's say I create like site. Okay, so for example in a manufacturing industry use case itself, we have things called site, line. The hierarchy is going to be site, line, equipment. Okay, so maybe like there will be a topic at site and line level, so it's basically a combination of site and line. Okay, site 1, okay, dot line 1. Okay, so there will be a topic at site level, site 1. Okay. Similarly, site 1 dot line 2, okay, and in the line 1 itself I have eqip equipments, okay, 1, okay. Similarly, equipment 2, okay. Similarly, line 2 1, 2. So assume we have 4 equipments, okay. So 4 equipments, basically in the line 1 I have 2 equipments, line 2 I have 2 equipments, okay. Basically machines. So these machines I have 4 topics. So first topic is in this way, second topic is in this way, third topic in this way, fourth topic in this structure, okay. So and each of these equipments are sending messages to this individual topics, okay. Assume in this way. So I wanted to perform some things based at the equipment level, okay. That means like maybe I'll directly consume from this topic, or maybe I wanted to basically do something at the line level. That means I wanted all the messages from within that line, okay, from all the equipments within that line. So what I can do is I can basically consume two topics based on a pattern. So let's say I consume to this the topic based on site 1 dot line 1 dot star, okay. So that means that pattern includes these two, right? So basically from these two topics I'll get messages. Similarly, if I just do site 1 dot star, okay, that means everything inside site 1, every topic basically which is of the site 1 structure, that pattern will fall under that pattern. So I'll start receiving messages from all 4 topics or all n number of topics which is following that pattern. So let's create some topic like that, okay. So what I am going to do is site 1 line 1 equip 1, okay. So this is like in consumer. Similarly, I am going to so on the consumer side, what I am going to do is, instead of setting the property at the consumer level in this way, what I am going to do is I am going to do consumer dot subscribe, okay. So I'll set the property just below like this. So pattern, okay. So what I'll do is site hyphen star, okay. That is my pattern, site hyphen star, okay. And then here I'll not pass the topic name, I'll keep this area empty, okay. So here I'll not specify anything, I'll specify the pattern over here, okay. And in the producer side, so I'll be sending the messages to various pattern, right? So maybe I'll specify the topic like site 1 line 1 1, okay. So here what I'll do is I'll okay. So equipment 2 equipment 3. So basically the topic names are different, okay. This is 3 different topic. So I'll send the messages one at a time, okay. So and then this is make Kirlosker, this is a motor, okay. Model is maybe pump 01, okay. And this is maybe this is from motor is from maybe another company L and T, okay. And the model is pump 02, okay. And third one is from maybe Toyota, okay. Model pump 03, okay. So this is what we have, 3 equipments and 3 different topics, okay. So now let's start sending the message, okay. Send simple producer I am sending, okay. So one more thing, okay. So at the moment, if you see, these 3 topics are not present, okay. But if you see our producer or the the consumer. Okay, consumer, what's the state of the consumer? So consumer has not started, it is already running, but with, I mean, a different topic name. Okay, so let's stop the consumer. So let's clear everything. Okay, so now let's start running the program again. Okay, so I'm running it for the second time. So this is offset 1, I'm running third time, offset 2. Okay, let's in the meantime, let's start the consumer as well. Let's start the consumer again. Okay, so you see, now for equipment 1 we started getting the message, right? 3 messages it came. Okay, now I'm going to comment this and I'm going to send a message for the second topic. Okay, it's basically a different topic, site 1, line 1, equipment 2. Okay, so you will not see this message right now. I'll tell you the reason. Okay, site 1, line 2 I sent, but the message is not here. Okay, what's the reason? Because when I started the consumer in the Kafka system, this topic itself was not present. Okay, the equipment 2 topic was not present, so the consumer doesn't know this topic at all. Okay, so even like, I mean, if I run this third one also, you will not see the message right now because the consumer was started before the creation of this topic. Okay, so consumer doesn't know the availability of this topic because according to the consumer, when it was started, site 1 dot star, there was only one topic, which is this one. Okay, because of that, what I need to restart my consumer. Basically, I need to get the consumer refresh and get the latest details of all the topics available in the system. So just note down. So when you are starting the or when you are basically doing something like this, so make sure the topics already present. Okay, now you see I restarted the consumer and it received a message like site 1, line 1, equipment 2, site 1, line 1, equipment 3. So basically from 2 different topics. Okay, so now let's say I am sending it from consumer 1. Okay, it will accept because the topic is already there, so it is just a new message to the existing topic. Now you see site 1, line 1, equipment 1. So and here in the consumer code, if you see, I am not using multiple topic names, I am just using a regex to consume from all these topics. So this is kind of a very useful configuration in the Kafka world. So with this, I'm going to conclude my session. So I think, I mean, this tutorial is, or this session is useful. I've covered the basics of producer, basics of consumer, how it is getting used in a program. So I just, I mean, explain the high level part only, but this is what we use, like, I mean, within complex programs, you can use this in your applications. So I hope this is useful. So please comment below this video if you have any questions or queries or feedbacks or anything. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much.